Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream from Hugo's desk. I hope you can hear me fine. Thank you so much for being here today. Today, we're going to do another radio show, another call in radio show. I forgot to mention last week that we're doing two streams this week, so we're actually doing another stream tomorrow. I kind of. I shouldn't really have made them so close to each other, but that's okay. So tomorrow we have the Showreel reviews. But yeah, so today is the radio show, and then tomorrow is the Showreel reviews. I'll put the link in a minute for everyone to see. But thank you so much for being here. There's a lot of people already watching. Thank you so much for being here. I am simultaneously streaming on Twitch and also on YouTube. Obviously, on YouTube, there's usually a bigger crowd of people talking. So usually, if you want to be in the conversation, the chat on YouTube is usually bigger and has more people watching. But of course, you can choose which of the places you want to be watching this stream. I have both chats open. So don't worry, I will be checking both chats and I'll be sending links over to both chats at the same time. So not to worry about that. But first, let's just do some housekeeping. First things first, as you know, I have always a giveaway. And so this is the giveaway, or I already put the link on the chat, is also on the top of the chat. So this is the Nuke compositing online course that I'm giving away today. Be sure to sign up. Even if you're my student, make sure you sign up so that you, even if you're a student, you can still get the workshops for free, or you can get my future courses as well. So yeah, so that's the link there. You have a QR code, you have the link, and it's also on the chat. Also, as I mentioned as well, tomorrow I'll be doing more Showreel reviews. So tomorrow is the 4th of April Showreel review. Remember, we have 4 dates right now, fully booked for tomorrow. We have 3 people. 3 artists that we're going to review. That will be tomorrow from 3 o'clock in the afternoon UK time. But the stream on the 14th still has 1 slot free, and the stream on the 21st is free. There's no slots. It's all the slots are available, so you can still sign up if you want. All the links for that are all available on the videos themselves. You can go there to the description. All the links are there. Obviously, I don't want to flood the screen here with links, but you can go there, or you can contact me. It's not a problem. You can always contact me and ask me about it as well. Also, don't forget that my course is still 50% off at the moment. I will keep it 50% off. I'm actually considering keeping in this price forever, actually. But if you are interested, that's the link there. And of course, don't do that right away, of course, because you want to wait if you're going to win the giveaway or not. Other things that I just wanted to mention is that definitely, so you have the QR code in the link. I've just dropped the link on the chat. Also wanted to mention that a lot of people have asked me about the Nuke constructions. Don't worry, they are coming back. They're going to return next month. So I finally spoke with the foundry. Everything is settled. We're going to do some streams again together. And they have the giveaways again. So we're going to be giving away Nuke indies as well. Hopefully I can talk about some of the new projects that I've done. I just recently finished the visual effects for an Amazon TV show from Sweden. Hopefully I can talk about that. I'm still waiting for approval for that. If not, I'll show some of the other projects that I've done. But yeah, the Nuke instructions are going to be back, and they're going to be back every month. That's the idea, at least. Also, just wanted to mention everyone that the VFX Notes podcast has a specific Patreon now. So if you like our podcast, and if you would like to get completely free and exclusive episodes, feel free to support our show. We already have 7 exclusive videos on our Patreon, and they are only available for Patreons. And so you can go there and watch already the Deadpool Wolverine video. You can watch the Twisters video. You can watch the Gladiator 2 video. You can watch the extra Wicked video, the extra Better Man, the extra Planet of the Apes, and the extra Alien episode as well that we've done. Every week we drop a new episode. This week we're dropping a special episode about Mufasa, and next week we're dropping a special episode about Civil War. So every week you get access to these exclusive episodes, which are not available on YouTube. But of course, the YouTube podcast will continue. And we are going to continue with Dune Part 2, which will be dropping next week as the public podcast for everyone as well. Just really quickly wanted to give a big shout out to my friend, Ian Fales. Ian Fales from Before and Afters. I'm sorry, I'm getting that all wrong. Ian Fales from Before and Afters. He just released the last magazine, which is about Penguin. You can get these magazines on any Amazon shop physically, or you can get them digitally on Ian's Patreon. So if you go to Before and Afters Patreon, you can also get the magazine as well. I just wanted to give a shout out. He doesn't pay me to do this, but I really love these magazines. These are my new favorite Cinefex style magazine, because Ian is doing an amazing job. Every month he's delivering these really, really, really high-end magazines every month. So he looks like he's aged on that photo. What do you mean, like on Penguin? Yeah, probably. Last but not least, I just wanted the last shout out that I wanted to give is for my wife's book. As always, you know that my wife has made a wonderful book, Green Recipes for All. For all you food lovers out there, you can always buy her book. Her book is available on all Amazon shops. I'm going to put the link for Amazon UK here, but it's available on Amazon US. It's available on Amazon India, Amazon France, Amazon Germany. It's a wonderful book. Of course, I'm biased, of course, because I love her, and also like the food is really good. But if you like good food, it's a great gift. Could be a really great introduction to vegetarian or vegan food. The book is available on paperback. As you can see here, it has 55 wonderful recipes. Some of them are Portuguese, some of them are... It's a really beautiful book. I helped with the design with Anna, but all the cooking and all the book and everything is created by her. It's a wonderful book, a really good gift. So consider that, support other creators. We need your help more than ever. And that's really it for me on the flogging side. I'm not going to flog anything else during this entire show. I promise. So right now we are going to start the radio show. So I'm going to put the link. The way this works, today's episode, as you know, is all about the whole... Well, actually, I should have put it on the top there. Yeah, let me just do that real quick. So today we are doing... Where is it? It's here. I think that's the one. Yeah, so let me just put it in here. And that's the one we're going to talk about. So that's the one. So today, this is the topic of discussion. Not that we only have to talk about this. Of course not. This is a radio show. It's open to any topic. So if you have other topics, I'm very open to talk about them. But I am very interested on having a discussion about AI and the state of the industry in relation to AI. And basically, I really would love for this to be a very constructive conversation from all sides. I don't want to just hear hate about AI or love about AI. I want to hear all types of topics. I want to have a constructive conversation. So if you are supportive of AI, please call in. If you are on the fence of AI, a bit like me, maybe call in as well and discuss that. If you're against AI, call in as well. I would love to have a discussion about this on this radio show. And constructive conversation. I do not need a shouting match or anything like that. I just want to talk about it, and talk and discuss what should we do, what's happening with the industry, what are the challenges we're facing. That's kind of the hit. If you don't want to talk about that, that's okay as well. We can talk about other topics. As I say, this is all about you guys. Like, you guys are part of this show. It's open to everyone. It's there's no topic boundaries, like as long as it's visual effects, of course. I can't really help you with any romantic tips or or any other thing. We can talk about Formula One if you want to as well. Very happy for Japanese Grand Prix this weekend, and I'm supporting Ferrari as always, as you can see on my shirt here. So hopefully Lewis Hamilton can take it over the line, or Charles Leclerc. It doesn't really matter. As long as a Ferrari wins, I'm happy. So let's open up the floor. As you know, this is going to be first come, first serve. Please be aware that it's Google Call. Be aware that sometimes we're talking and people come in and come out of the conversation. I don't always see them, so just be aware that I'll try my best to see the order and bring people through the correct order. Also, please, let's make it brief. There's a lot of people always that want to talk about, so let's make sure we keep the ball rolling, because I want to have more than only one or two people talking on the show. I want to have as many voices as possible discussing. So yeah. Okay. So does anyone want to join a conversation? I've put the link of the Google Meet on the both chats. You can find them on YouTube, and also can find it on Twitch as well. Again, don't be shy. Even if you want to talk about something else, please call in. If you only want to say hello, that's okay too. This is a call-in radio show, and that's the whole point of this. So please feel free to call in. Yeah. Who wants to? Oh, yeah, I'll wait to the end of the stream. Why is that, Mikhail? Why are you doing that? Do you have another topic or something? Is that why you don't want to call in now? I see that a lot of people are shy. No one is calling in. Come on, guys. Don't leave me hanging. Otherwise, I'll just play some video games or something. You can see that not a lot of people are wanting to make the first step. Don't worry. We don't need to talk about the topics I discussed. We can talk about any topic, really. It's not a problem at all. And of course, I really appreciate everyone joining the call. I can see a lot of familiar faces on the chat. It's always lovely to see. Always these familiar faces are always here every week supporting. Nikki is here, and Twitch, and Frayoshi is here as well. And thank you so much. Mikhail is also here. Pablo is here, David, and thank you so much for always being here. And you guys are always showing up on my streams. I really appreciate that. No one wants to call in. Okay, then I'm surprised that no one wants to talk about anything. No topics whatsoever. I am surprised. This is the first time. Oh, there we go. First time that we had no takers on the radio show. That is interesting. Is it because of the topic, or people afraid of the topic or something? Is that why? People are busy. Well, that's good that you're busy, Glass. Glass Night. I'm happy to hear that you're busy. Okay, I'm gonna bring in. So I'll bring in the first person that we have two now. Okay, good. We have two. As by order, the first one that signed up was Juan, and then we have Mikhail. So I'm gonna bring in Juan first, and Mikhail just wait a little bit because Juan was first. So I'll bring them in. Hello there. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hey. Hey, Hugo.
Hey, Juan. How you doing?
All good, thanks. And you?
I'm good as well. Thank you so much for calling in. Can I? Well, first of all, thank you so much. And can I ask you where you're calling from and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm calling from Guadalajara in Mexico.
Cool.
And I am a VFX supervisor for a small studio based in Vancouver.
Cool. But you're working from Mexico to that studio?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's we work for small budget movies, and I mean, I'm as a VFX supervisor in the studio, but there's someone else as a on-set supervisor. So it's like a collaboration, because it's I would only supervise the work once we get the material.
Yeah, of course, of
and
course.
assess, yeah, for any onset situations. But
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And tell me a little bit why you're calling. What would you like to say? What would you like to discuss?
I wanted to discuss the topic of, well, I think the main topic right now is like the implementation of AI
Yeah,
in workflows, or the possibilities of it.
yeah.
Like I'm with the mindset of like AI is just like you've already talked about it. Like it's another tool
Yeah.
that is just gonna help help us improve our workflows or times. It's gonna be it's gonna make us be able to do more shots, and I think it's just gonna um, like, with a good mindset and opening our minds, it will allow us. It will be more um, helpful, and it will give more job
Yeah.
instead of like removing the human aspect of things. Like it will push our creativity,
Mm-hmm.
because like um, if AI will help us on some processes, like it will do it faster and it will do it better, and it will like tackle any tedious aspects of our work. It will just allow us to tackle another creative issues, no?
And how okay, I agree with you. We've talked a lot about this on the show, on the radio show, and also on my regular streams. I definitely agree with you. Are you already using AI on your work, or if you don't, if you are, but you can't talk about it, that's okay as well. But if you can talk about it, that would be great. Are you already using it?
No, I'm like in the early stages of like dipping myself into it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been making some like yeah, trying to get used to like Comfy UI,
Mm-hmm.
and making use of some of the models and tweaks and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But that's kind of my question. If there's any, if you have applied it, if you are allowed to tell it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think I'm aware that some people are using it already in their workflows, but it's like not publicly
No, no, it's not.
shared
Yeah, no,
at
it's not
all.
public. No, it's not public.
Yeah,
Like a lot of people are afraid of talking about it, and
yeah, exactly.
for example, like I've used it in the terms of machine learning. So, and I've
Mhm.
used it for years, machine learning. But I, especially on inside of Nuke and with Copycat, I use
Yeah,
it all the
exactly.
time. So that's a normal thing, part of my pipeline, and I don't have any problems with it because it's not really the same as AI. It's not doesn't really have any ethical issues associated to it. It's not really because it's a machine learning process which is learning from your own shot and processing
Yeah,
from your
exactly.
own project. And so I am very happy to use that, and I think Foundry is doing a great job in that sense. And I also use a lot of the neural plugins in DaVinci on Blackmagic, so I've used them a lot, and sometimes they fail. They do fail a lot of times, and so I use the neural engine to treat the interlaced footage, and I use it for denoising footage, and I use it even sometimes to do automatic cutting or even cutting by text. It sometimes fails, so it's not very good. Sometimes it gives me more work because of it, but I am happy to use those type of tools. Now I have been having a I have talked with a lot of people in the industry which are really hiding the fact that they're using a lot of AI on their processes. Mainly, there's a lot of people using it for previs and for storyboards and for pre-production. And so there's a massive amount of people and companies and studios and I've seen that even myself because I get a lot of requests for projects, and I do bidding for projects and try to get into some projects, trying to win the bid and those kind of things. And I've noticed the last year a huge increase on AI made treatments, PDF treatments and especially like animatics and especially storyboards that are completely done by AI. That has been a shift almost to 100%. I don't think I even got a non-AI storyboard or animatic for a year now. So I think that ship has sailed. Like there is no way we're getting back to anything else. Obviously, some of the boards and some of the animatics I get are touched up. So you can see that there are people touching up on Tot and there are people doing that. But one of the problems that I'm having with this, people do whatever they want. I wouldn't personally do it myself because I am very concerned with the ethical use of the engines of AI, of what material they used,
how they feed it.
Exactly, what material they used to get to the image. So I'm very concerned about that, and so myself, I don't really use it in production because I'm still kind of waiting to see what the legal side of this is and how does it pay out, how does it end up being happening. But I noticed that a lot of my clients and a lot of the people that ask me for quotes, they are full in on it. Especially certain countries are completely full into it, and it's a bit disturbing, but I can't stop that. There's nothing I can do about it. But I did notice one thing. I don't know if that's your experience as well, but there is one problem that is happening more and more. I get very unrealistic expectations from AI boards and AI storyboards. Yeah. That is the biggest problem I'm having now, where we get these boards which are amazing, like these photoreal images with like crazy backgrounds and crazy shots and really outstanding things. And then when we get to bid it and we get to tell them how we could do it in 3D, it always goes flat because it's so expensive to create some of those things that it becomes becomes impossible, because the expectation is so high because they see these boards which look like final shots. And then the clients become very obsessed with the final boards. And so that is one of the biggest problems I'm facing right now. It's as soon as the client sees something that looks already finished, it's very difficult to then construct something that will first meet their expectations or try to exceed it, or even to come into budget. And so I'm having a lot of those problems where I do the quote, send the quote with a massive discount already, and still don't get the job because they then turn around and say, oh, that's too much money. Well, we'll give it a go with AI and see if we can get it. And then I never hear about the project ever again, and a lot of them don't end up being done. So there is a lot of that happening. I think there's a lot of people that don't really know what to do, and it's all a bit messy. I don't know if you've had this experience, but I've had that experience lately.
Yeah, I think like like the next step with all of these like generated stuff and all of these like concepts and storyboards and whatever, I think it's gonna be to teach the clients, educate the clients that this is it's a concept, like you have to understand that, and also like people that generate this stuff, like have to know, like one thing is like accepting a generated image. like there's I believe that there's two approaches, no? Like one, to use it as a tool for you to get something that you want, so you have to prompt whatever you want and set your own limits, with the knowledge of like, if I'm gonna quote this, it's just not gonna be made, no? Instead of just like, let me see what AI can offer me, and that's unreal. I mean,
well, it's the problem right now is that this is all in infancy technology, and so as usual, there's always people trying to take advantage and trying to earn a lot of money really quickly and have a knee-jerk reaction to these things. I've had people coming to me and asking for a quote on a traditional visual effects project, and then coming back to me saying, "Oh, that's so much money. We'll just do it in AI," and then they coming back saying, "Well, we couldn't do it." so it's really an infant, and I think a lot of people are gonna just give it a go and trying it anyway and see if they can get away with it, and that's okay. I mean, we've always had that. We've always had snake oil salesmen, I guess. We've always had people that try to earn more money than others and try to be smarter than everyone else. And my perspective from all of this noise, because I think the AI conversation is way too muddled and too noisy online. There's way too many people complaining and too many people showcasing solutions that are just ridiculous. And so I try to stay away from the noise and try to have a pragmatic view, but I do realize that some people can't wait for it and people just have to work. But I do think that the industry is changed forever. It's already too late. It's never going to go back to what it was. I think we all have to start understanding that we have to start looking for that ethical AI tool that we can use and use properly and try to develop our own art with it. And I think if we don't do that as artists, we are going to be really we're going to be extinct in that sense. And so it's very complicated, and I think people need to really travel the line and try to understand what's going on. It's a very complicated topic, and that's why I wanted to talk with all types of sides from this, because I'm the kind of people that I'm on the fence. I don't want the non-ethical AI, and I hate the tech bros conversation on social media where they say it's the end of cinema. I don't really believe that, and I think those are just conversations to try to elevate the valuation of the companies and trying to get subsidies and try to get funding to their projects. And I think out of the 20, 30, 50 AI companies, we will end up with one or two. It will kind of like level down, and the tech bros will focus on something else, because then there's something else that we'll be worried about. But I am concerned about the erosion of the artist and the erosion of respect of the artist. That is happening a lot online. I just a few days ago, I saw someone boasting that they pick up a bunch of Trzaskowski films and they made AI versions with new camera movements. And I was so shocked by that, because first of all, because it's a lack of respect by the author, the original author, which he's been dead for years. You know, he's one of the best cinema directors ever lived. And it's such a lack of respect to try to change camera moves with that and trying to prove a point that it will be cooler with those camera moves. And it's just really noisy. And you look at the comments of those threads and there's so much disrespect around artists. And I'm very worried about that. I'm worried the same way I was worried for years about the disrespect in regards to the no CGI debate. I am very concerned about how artists in general are being treated lately, and also how there's this disrespect for copyright and people just don't care. I am worried for sure.
Yeah, also like all the Ghibli stuff that's been online. Like
yeah. It's a huge lack of respect, but I get it, because a lot of people outside the sphere and people outside the industry, they don't really care how it was done. They just want to do the filter and put the family photos with the Ghibli style, and a lot of them don't do it not doing it by harm. It's available, so they use it, and and people just put their vacation photos. They don't really think about how the implications of that. But I think it's more about us. We are the ones that have to like tweet about it and respond and show the audience that it is not that simple. And especially I think us, there's a lot of people also committed to trying to go by the laws. Well, there is copyright laws, and there's a lot of things that can be done, and there's a lot of things we can get together and try to at least give more transparency to how these companies are just scouring the internet and looking for things, just give an example. Just recently at the BBC, I was watching the BBC News, and there was this news about ChatGPT and OpenAI that just basically, there's rumors that they just went to a torrent website and took hundreds of thousands of books from a torrent website and then used those books on their models. These are all rumors, of course, and not proven yet. And of course, there's lawsuits going on right now. But just the sheer fact that you can even consider that someone would go into the torrent websites to pick up footage and pick up books and just steal them and just put them on their model. It's just a huge lack of understanding of how copyright works, and I really think there will be a reckoning on these companies because some of them are not behaving in a very correct way, in my view, in my opinion. Of course, this is all my opinions, of course.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Cool, man. Sorry, I apologize. I talked so much. So do you want to say anything else? We have quite a few other people that want to come in as well, but do you want to say anything else, Juan?
No, I think that would be all. Yeah, let's give the rest of the people their time. Yeah. Thanks, Hugo.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Care.
Have a good one.
Okay, I'm gonna continue with the gonna call and next up. Okay, Mikhail, you've joined many times the call, so. Do you mind to wait a little bit longer to come into the show? You also mentioned on the chat that you wouldn't mind doing it later, because I do have some newcomers to the show, and maybe we can do that. We can bring in some of the newcomers. Okay, so I'll bring in Nikki here, which I don't think they called before. So at least the call, maybe not recently. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Hugo, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for calling. It's been a while since I've talked to you.
It's a long time.
I know. Years and years. Very happy to see you on the call here. So, Nikki, for the people that don't know you, why don't you tell people your name and where you're calling from and a little bit about yourself, only if you want to, of course.
Yeah, sure, Hugo. Well, as you know, I was founded Boundary Visual Effects back in 2009 as a remote, trying to convince people 10 years before the pandemic that remote work was the way to go. Unfortunately now retired due to physical and mental health issues, so not working anymore.
Okay.
But single content creator. I do stream on Twitch now. Cool. So that sort of helps with the old mental health side of things. And funnily enough, both my background in live television, visual effects, and now content creation, the whole AI thing has been a very, very interesting arena, because obviously you've got content creators who are completely against it. You've got ones who, are very much for it.
Yeah.
And again, obviously people, you just got to look at any sort of revolution, the industrial revolution, the print revolution, which I think a lot of people maybe have forgotten about, when we used to have people actually printing things, that used to be a huge business that computers took away from people.
Yeah.
And, it's like you say, it's not going to go away.
No.
There is good, there is bad. I certainly, as a single content creator, it has allowed me to produce much higher quality content in a much more, what's the word I'm looking for, economic way.
Yeah.
Both time as much as anything. 5 years ago, it would take me a day to do a reasonable job on a face swap. Now I can do it on my phone in less than a minute.
Yeah.
Am I going to waste a day of my time shoving against something that is a product of machine learning and artificial intelligence? No. I'm gonna get the good result off my blooming, £500-600 phone.
Yeah.
So it is difficult. I mean, one thing I've learned, I use ComfyUI, which is a fantastic piece of software. Basically, it's nodal compositing. Well, not nodal compositing, but it's a nodal approach to AI.
Yeah.
And you can produce your own lauras. So if you're looking for a particular look or certain characters, you can actually produce your own data sets. I do apologise if that came through. I've got a noisy bike's just gone by.
It's not a problem.
So yeah, I can now produce stuff that, very quickly, that, although it's using AI, it started with, my sketches, and I put my sketches into the system to learn my style.
Yeah.
So instead of me now having to sit and manually sketch everything out, I can, run a few, and this is all run on a relatively, it's a single 14900K with a 4070 Ti. So it's not a super duper machine. And, I can produce, 10 to 15 second continuous video. I can bring my art to life.
Yeah.
So, it does have a lot of benefits, and I think people do need to, love it or hate it. It needs to be, it's a tool, as our last guy said, and you've said, it is a tool.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a lot of people out there think the visual effects we do now in CGI is you type into a computer and the computer generates it.
Yeah.
They have no idea. And again, I think, the thing with AI is a lot of people have seen ChatGPT or, Sora, where you just type something in and you get a result out. And yeah, that is part of it. But going to something like ComfyUI, where you have a lot more control over your end product, I see that, I can do lip sync instantly. I don't have to, I can remember having to do keyframe lip sync.
Yeah, of course. Of course. No,
So,
it's the same. It's the same with Roto, and it's the same with. I think that what people really. I agree with you. I think people. They need to understand that this is not going to go away, and I think that I think we're on a phase where there's a lot of law that still needs to be addressed, and there's a lot of legal things that need to be addressed, and a lot of more transparency has to happen in these companies so that they don't get caught by. It would be a shame if we found out that they ended up stealing things from copyrighted material and stealing things from torrents, because there is ways of doing this. You can use, you can give financial support to the people that you're using the material. You can use a very rudimentary, system where you give them a percentage of the profits, and it can be very tiny. A bit like the way that Napster kind of came in and everyone was stealing music from everywhere, and then there was a huge lawsuit, and there was a lot of lawsuits going around. I remember at least at that time Metallica went over the board with it and really went all in with the lawsuits. Yeah. And now we have a royalty system in music. We have Spotify, and we have Apple Music, and we have all the Google Music, and all these are royalty based. Of course, there's a debate that the royalties are very tiny and it's very little money, and the bands can't survive from the royalties, but that ship has sailed. Now they live from gigs, and they live from concerts, and they live from merchandise. That's how the bands survive these days. And any band that doesn't have merchandise or doesn't have like concerts, it's going to have a hard time really surviving on this landscape. And that's just an evolution. There's nothing we can do about it. No one is going to go back to buying CDs or going back to buying individual records. Although LPs and vinyl is very on the up right now, and a lot of bands are releasing the vinyls again, because there's always a physical component that people love. But I think we are experiencing the same thing with visual effects. I think at some point these lawsuits will all happen. We'll discover what OpenAI has done and who stole what and what happened, and there will be a lot of settlements, like I'm sure Ghibli will get a settlement, and I'm sure Disney will get a settlement, and all these companies have a lot of lawyers. Everything is going to end up being in the correct place. And obviously, unfortunately, there will be a few people in the middle that might lose out, or people that will lose their jobs, and people that will lose out on some of these lawsuits or lose out completely. But that is the unfortunate reality whenever a new technology comes in and disrupts the industry. I think I am, obviously I come and go. Sometimes I'm more negative, sometimes I'm more positive. I really do not like this thing with the Ghibli thing with OpenAI. I don't like that they are just making a mockery out of the Ghibli film studio style. I don't like these tech bros that just really pretend that cinema can be whatever they want, and they can just like pick up classic movies and just change them because it's cool now. I don't really like that, and I think that is going to go away. I think at some point there will be a bit, at least I want to be, maybe I'm a romantic. I want to be a person where I have a romantic mind, where I hope that there will be a reckoning of some kind, and something will happen, and common sense will prevail at some point, and we'll have some good tools to help our work, but everyone will continue working. Obviously, I know things can go really badly as well. There's a lot of things that can go incredibly badly on all of that whenever there's lawsuits and whenever there's these kind of systems in place, like that we can have mass unemployment, and we can have a lot of problems as well that can come around on all areas of work, not just visual effects or art. But I think it's also up to us to keep an eye on it and to see what's happening and to choose wisely what we're using and to use what's best for us and to try to be as ethical as possible with our life. I feel that is really the only way that I can navigate this in my personal view.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you've got to take your stance on it, and as I say, I find it. The fact that I'm producing my own laws makes me feel a little less guilty.
Of course. But that's the thing. Like, there is nothing wrong with people using AI tools. The tools are available. I just feel that people just have to try to understand what's going on and what's behind them. I would. I have not tried the Ghibli style thing. I don't really agree with it. I don't like it. I don't think I really love the Ghibli studio, and I would never in a million years use it to do my own vacation photos. I think it's a lack of respect to do that. But I'm not going to judge anyone to do it because it is available. You basically pay for it and you can do it on OpenAI. And, people can do whatever they want. But there will be a point where the company itself will have to answer to these things, because there is some kind of thing that happened. For them to be able to do the Ghibli style, they have to have trained it with the Ghibli films. And that is the problem. That is the copyright problem that is going to come back to bite them. And because we all know that it's not going to be enough to do those kind of images they're making. It's probably not just the trailers they used or the footage that is available for free. And even the available footage for free, it is not really for free. It is still copyrighted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the fact that it's on YouTube doesn't make it free.
No.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find the article. I don't know if anyone else read it, but there is a company, it was in Variety, I think, and they've basically teamed up with a film studio. So they're producing what they class, because all the data is going to be trained on this studio's output and what it owns.
Yeah.
They're sort of basically selling that as a, the word ethic. Sorry, that's the word I was, an ethically sourced one. So that will be interesting to see where that goes, because, it looks as though it's going to be some sort of, I don't know, whether they're going to go for a rental system or something.
There's actually got a lot of companies doing that. Like I've seen companies that do that reach out, and I have colleagues of mine that are content creators bigger than me, and that I've been that I've been contacted by those companies and asking them if they want to sell all their videos for training, that is happening in behind the scenes. Some people say yes, some people say no, and I think that's reasonable. I think that's actually a reasonable way of doing this. And if you have content and if you have created something, it is up to you what to do with it. But my problem is not that people are selling it. My problem is if they took it without consent. That is the problem I have with
Absolutely,
it, and that is where I feel. That's why I'm a bit on the fence, and I'm not really using it in production apart from machine learning, and I'm not really interested in using it yet until we can kind of clear exactly what's happening here. And maybe maybe it will be a huge mistake that I've done. Maybe I will be left behind, like people like the tech bros say, and I'll be obsolete in a few years, and because I wasn't there. But Nikki, I kind of look back in my life, in my career, and I always think that things are never as fast as people think it is. And I don't believe really that anyone can really be left behind if they don't want to be left behind. I feel like it is up to you to learn new things, and it's up to you to evolve. It's like if you want to be left behind, that's because you've made that choice to be left behind. I feel like it's a bit... It's all this really conversation of speed of the tech bros on social media saying, if you don't learn this, you're gonna be obsolete in 1 year. It's all just It's all just wind. It's just like a lot of hot air, because it's not really like that. That's not how the industry works, and it's not really. People learn all the way. They change their careers. They change. It's really. Yeah, it is a fascinating conversation. That's why I wanted to have it here on the show.
Yeah, I mean, again, without one of the things that sprang to my mind is I've looked at a couple of the newer map producing AI models that basically they're not rotoscoping, they're producing a mat, and I've looked at the hair and thought few tweaks. So again, hang on, again, chroma key, as we all know, isn't a one button. We all end up either rolling our own, going through menus, using somebody else's, in the studio who's, and again, whether you're using that or, which is an algorithm or another algorithm that just happens to be on, as you say, once they get past that, is this ethically trained? There's, again, it's another tool.
Yeah, I think so too. Nikki, can I ask you, you mentioned that you're doing streaming on Twitch. What's your handle on Twitch? I didn't know that you were streaming. I didn't notice that.
Oh, no worries.
I think I just found you. I think so.
Nikki _Danger.
Yes, exactly. That's the one that I found. Yeah. Do you want me to put it on the chat for people to check it out? I can do that.
That's very kind. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check out what Nikki is doing on Twitch, there's the link on both chats now, on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm gonna check out your videos as well. I can see that you're playing some games as well, aren't you? I can see that as well. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're playing Elite Dangerous. Okay, I see. Cool. Excellent. That's nice, man. I'm gonna check out your streams at some point. I didn't know that you were doing that. Congratulations! You have 2,600 followers already. Congratulations, my friend. That's cool.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Well, we ought to let somebody else in on the conversation, shall we?
No, of course, no. I do apologize if I talked so much. If you have anything else that you would like to say before we disconnect, just please go ahead and do. It's not a problem.
It's always a pleasure. All I'll say is, Hugo, is I will reach out off stream at some stage just to catch up, because it has been too long, and it'd be nice to have a good old natter.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations with your Twitch endeavors. I'm very happy to see that you're there, and I'm gonna check out your streams.
Cheers.
Thanks, Nikki. I'll see you later, my friend.
Take care, Hugo. Be good. Be safe. Bye.
Okay, so thanks so much, Nikki, for calling in. I can see a lot of people on the chat. Chatting as well. Some people, GMVFX, is saying, hope Miyazaki gets his revenge, Johnny Wick style. I don't think it will be like that. I think it will be behind doors settlements. That's what's going to happen to all these companies, always settlements and behind the scenes things. We never really know how much the settlement was. It's a bit like the settlements in the past, like Facebook, for example, had a lot of lawsuits in the beginning. We actually see that on the film Social Network. And the value of the settlements, we never know what it was. Okay, so I'm going to bring in our next contestant here. Not contestant. So see what they have to say. So I'm going to bring in, again, I'm doing this by order that they show up here. I know other people have showed up before, but they left. So I'm trying my best to keep a thing here going. So hi, Justin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Wow. Okay, this is weird. Let me. So this is on delay.
Yeah, you can mute your YouTube channel, and also you can remove. Yeah. You can disable your camera. We're not going to use cameras. I can't use a camera on my side, so we'll be just audio. Like a true radio show. So Justin, why don't you tell the audience where you're calling from? Only if you want to, of course. And what do you do, my friend?
Okay, I'm calling from St. Louis, Missouri, in the States. And I cannot look at your camera. That's confusing. Sorry about that. I used to work in public access TV, which was kind of the dregs. I don't know if you had anything like that around where you are, but kind of locally funded stuff for cable channels. So it was like basic stuff. It was like pirate ship style production. But I kind of got back into...
Yeah, we had similar channels in Portugal as well, like where they were really local type of broadcasts. On the cable, of course, on the cable Freeview, and that used to happen in Portugal. Not really anymore, but it used to happen in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, and I don't know. I got back into trying to teach myself DaVinci and got really into motion graphics and really into Fusion, and I started paying attention to your show and. Kind of wanted to do my own reel and kind of listen to what you were saying, but yeah, the AI conversation. I think one of my problems with the conversation always ends up that we need to kind of separate a little bit, in my opinion, some of the stuff, the like denoisers and some of the stuff that helps with rotoscoping and things like that, compared to the generative AI.
Yeah,
because I think they're two very different balls of wax, and I think that the people who are kind of behind the stuff and the generative stuff like ChatGPT are purposely trying to blur the lines, because it's not really an ethical problem when you're talking about trying to denoise something or trying to figure out how to smooth out, use machine learning to smooth out an animation. But it's been really blatant that, yes, what you've been saying, like, yeah, they have stolen many, many things from LibGen, which is a site that you can go get books at. And that's kind of all over the place, and that's leaked. And yeah, of course they're going to torrents. It's like they're definitely doing this, and there's definitely discussions.
They're scrubbing. They're scrubbing the internet. They're scrubbing the whole thing, like trying to find.
And I don't think there's much of an ethical solution to that. And I mean, yeah, the cat is out of the bag, and yes, these things can happen and be used, but if we're not separating these two things out, I think that's where the problem comes in, because if it ultimately becomes kind of a labor issue. And because some of these big players with generative AI and ChatGPT, this is the only killer app is to cut jobs, and the specific jobs they're going to cut. And ChatGPT, I mean, I hate bringing up his name right now, but Elon Musk setting everything for customer service to a poop emoji. I mean, ChatGPT, that's going to be the main use. We're not going to be able to contact most businesses anymore. And
well, that's already happening. That's already happening. In the UK, I can't talk to anyone. It's very rare that I can get to anyone on the phone.
And it's going to get worse as we connect that to voice stuff that we know we use. But when we're looking at the generative stuff, it is all stolen at the moment. And I don't, unless you're specifically training it on the company's things, and I don't think there's a way around that. And if somebody's handing you storyboards in particular, keeps sticking in my mind when you say this, it's like, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. They've been sold on a bad pitch, and it's not going to work. And we all know that the generative AI doesn't know anything. It can't tell the difference for how to do fingers and how to do any of this stuff. And I don't know why we're pretending it's not a waste of time. I mean, if somebody's coming to you with a storyboard, it's like, it's obviously not worth your time to pitch because they don't know what they're doing, or they're sold on what a company is telling them can be done with this stuff that can't be done, and that bridge there. And it is an expectation thing, and we are being swamped with propaganda about it right now. But I don't know. It's another rough thing. I mean, you and I are about the same age, and I also, part of the stuff I do right now is, have you heard of Racer Trash? It was something that happened during the pandemic. Yeah. I mean, it's Paul's Boutique all over again with like the Beastie Boys and sampling, and I don't think there's.
and Rage Against the Machine saying that they don't have any samples on their phone, on the albums. Yeah, I know. I see what you mean. I'm really glad that you mentioned that. Yes, I completely agree with you. There is a blurriness of the lines there because first of all, AI is not really AI. That's the first thing that it's really funny how, and also I can see a lot of companies changing what they already had to AI, which was already, the funny one is Grammarly, which has been going on for years. Now it's pretending to be an AI company, but it's always happened. Like Grammarly has always been around, and even search engines always existed. It's a bit, everything is being rebranded as AI. So AI is not even AI, but machine learning is, I have no problems whatsoever with it. And I think, yes, you're right. It is in purpose. They're trying to merge everything into the same boat, because that is what happens when they are. The sole focus of these companies here is having valuation and having stock and having more money and trying to appease the shareholders. And so they are trying to make these companies look like they're much better than they are, to try to get these ridiculous valuations off the ground. And a lot of people are going to win a lot of money in the meantime. But I do believe that this really is a dead end. I think so, because it's not AI. This is not AI. And I think at some point they will realize that you can't create anything new. It can only do whatever happened before. The biggest example of this is the Ghibli thing with the style. First of all, I've seen almost every Ghibli movie. It's not even that similar to Ghibli. It's not even the same as Ghibli. Like, that's the first thing. When you look at Ghibli, very hand-drawn, a lot of mistakes. It has a lot of problems, and the lines are incomplete sometimes. It doesn't even look like Ghibli, some of it. And the second thing is like, okay, cool, you've done a Ghibli style. We already had that. Can you do something else? It's a bit like doing something, but it is sad. It's sad for me because I look at Ghibli, which is a company that it's probably not very profitable, I'm assuming. I mean, it's probably good enough because they have a lot of employees and they've been surviving for decades. But I'm certain that Miyazaki is not a billionaire. I'm sure he's not. And it is sad to see people from OpenAI ranking in billions from this. Like, it is sad, you know.
Why? And I mean, I think the big question comes down to is, why do any of these AI companies get to be the specialist little boy that gets to totally break copyright law and put it in a black box and then charge people for it? And
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
That's a huge problem. And I'm sorry, anybody, I mean, anybody selling you something like that, I think we need to go after with pitchforks, because there's that asking to have the sole exception for copyright because you're claiming it's dangerous. I mean, this is the biggest con artist pitch ever.
I know, and it's snake oil pitch. Like, I know. I know.
It's an immense amount of power you're going to give somebody to have that. And I don't know why, like, particularly somebody like Sam Altman, it should be anywhere near that sort of power. And then once you do have that black box that you're charging people for, that's got, let's say, the totality of the internet in it, what levers can they pull to censor it? Because once you're in, and yeah, does that come down to they don't technically have Studio Ghibli stuff because they lost that particular lawsuit, which is kind of lame, because why should one company have all this power?
I agree with you.
I don't know. My personal opinion is people selling you this stuff need to be run out of the town on pitchfork, because they're asking for a lot of power and they're doing it very shadily.
But Justin, that's not going to happen. They're not going to be thrown out. Unfortunately, if you look, I'm still on X. I know a lot of people have left. I'm still on X because I still want to see the pulse of these kind of things with the tech bros, and that's why I'm still there. And man, there's so many people on these comments, on these posts, that really categorically believe that copyright law should not exist. It is so funny to read. It is so blatantly like it's a marketing campaign to try to convince people that copyright only exists to make corporations rich. And then you're like, you hear them writing that, and they're giving the money to a corporation. It's like, okay, it is really bizarre. It is really bizarre what's happening. There
is kind of an argument to be made that the way copyright exists right now, that is what's happening. Because Spotify turned into a massive payola scam. Tidal may be a little bit better, but and then Spotify is taking it to the extra level of faking their own generative AI music. So then they're paying out even less. That was another power grab. We can see that directly because all the labels got together and basically colluded. And so the only people who are getting paid on Spotify are the ones that they want to get paid on Spotify. It's not a big conspiracy theory. It's just what's happened. Yeah. And any sort of democratizing power of the internet has been eaten up with these problems with copyright.
It's the same with YouTube as well. YouTube has come into the same thing. YouTube has stopped being a place of small creators in a long time. I've been on YouTube for 10 years now. And I remember still when I started on YouTube, it was still a positive platform for small creators. Now, it is a gigantic corporate horde where everything you post there gets either demonetized or copyright strike, or they always take the side of the big corporations, always, on anything, especially if you're criticizing something or if you're doing a critical piece about something. And it's shameful. Yes, it is. But there is, even us as the small creators, we know this, and there's nothing we can do about it, but we've always changed it, as well. Like, if you think about it, like, okay, then we found other ways. We found merchandising. We found Patreon. We found donations. We found other ways to monetize our things. It's becoming more and more difficult, of course. But I don't believe, Justin, that we can go back. There's nothing. They're not gonna let anything go back. This is gone. We have now moved on, and this is the new internet. This is how we're gonna be. I don't believe the generative AI, as much as I hate it and as much as I don't believe it's ethical. It's not gonna go away because it's being protected by governments and being protected by lobbyists and being protected by big companies, and so it's really difficult, to really go around this, and it's going to be some public outrage, but public outrage doesn't really do anything. So it's a problem. It's a massive problem, and I don't know really how to solve it, and I don't really, in my personal view, in my opinion, like I try to stay away from it. I have not used generative AI. I don't care. I don't look at it. I don't really have any use for it. I do my own things, and I want to believe, again, maybe I'm a romantic, I want to believe that I'll continue doing what I want and continue doing my projects and my art, and somehow I'll be able to kind of survive and continue. It's almost like in the beginning when we were on the 80s and the 90s, artists was always struggling anyway. So it's like we came back to that again, so, which is weird. Like I started like that. I when I was 18, I went to art school, and of course I was struggling the whole time I was there, as an artist and as a video artist and as a painter and as a sculptor. And I guess I came back. I went back to that. I think a lot. I don't believe things are going to go back to normal again. And I think we need to pivot, and we need to start thinking about other ways and other things to do, because this is so corporatized now that it's really not going to work out. It's become completely swollen up by corporate. There's no way around it. And these companies are so big that they don't really fail. There's no way. There's no lawsuit that will happen that will stop OpenAI. Like even if Ghibli sues or Disney sues or anyone sues, like it's always going to be pennies. It's like, okay, they settled on 200 million, or they settled on 100 million, or they settled on 300 million, and that's it. That's going to be what's going to happen. The settlements are always going to be small,
Yeah, no, and I mean, and
so negative now. This
no, God. I mean, and I
didn't mean to bring everyone down. Now I'm sorry, guys.
Well, and hey, I'd like to think I contributed.
No, you did, absolutely you did. I know that. But, like the old geezers are coming in here and just like making everyone sad now.
I guess, and I don't know if there's a place for this here. I guess I feel a lot more punk rock about it, and it's like, as creatives, we need to be leaving some of these corporations and things behind, or
I know.
Exploiting them for our own use. And I mean, I sat here and said I did the Racer, I got inspired by Racer Trash. I'm currently, both as practice and as I feel a legitimate piece of art, hacking up a really bad 90s movie at the moment and trying to and it's a group project, and
that's the way to go. That's the way to go, and that's what I'm doing as well. Like I feel you're right. People on the chat also saying that it's not negative at all, and I don't believe. I really think that the proof of this is that we're all talking about it here, and I've done this radio show. People are talking, people are calling in. There's a lot of people watching right now. I feel that the only way that this is going to move forward anyway is for us to talk about it and discuss it on an open forum, see if we can all help each other and get ideas. And that's the only way we're going to leave. At least I know that right now I'm not a corporate old warlord. This is a stream I'm making. I have no sponsor on this stream. There's no thing going on here. There's nothing behind this. I'm not sponsored by anyone doing this. We're just chatting, and we're just trying to get to the bottom of it. And I feel that's the only way we can do right now. And we will, people that are much smarter than me will find ways, and then we'll all get inspired by it. I think,
and I mean, I guess, like I said, my solution right now is to try and work with people and do interesting creative projects that are kind of out of the mainstream, because I mean, maybe it's naive to think if you build it, they will come. But I mean, if more people are doing that, because the stuff I can do now, picking up Resolve and Fusion and what I've taught myself compared to what I could do 10 years ago. And I think about like when I was in film school and that stuff, it's like, I don't need to ask anybody's permission anymore for some of this stuff. I can do some real dumb special effects on my own with cheap
as long
cameras.
As you're happy and you're gonna, exactly. That's my motto as well right now.
Are we gonna get jobs at Disney where they're not gonna pay us?
No, I mean, exactly. I've left that corporate world anyway. Like I've given up working on the companies. I've left the mill because of all of that shit, and now they're gone. Like, so it's like, okay, so I guess I left in time before they were closed anyway. So I left 10 years before they closed down because I already saw the writing on the wall. It had no future. It had no fucking future. It was like a sweatshop, So I really am a huge huge proponent of micro transaction living. You know, I feel that we can all do little bits and bobs, and we end up earning a little enough money that we all can survive. I don't need to be rich. I don't think a lot of us want to be rich. Just want enough to get by, and I don't mind doing a stream here and there, and a little YouTube video here and there, and a podcast here and there, and then I have a few Patreons, and then I have a few subscribers, and then I have a few people buy my course, and then I have a little few things going on, and all together perhaps is enough. And I'm happy to at least be happy like that, instead of trying to chase this thing, which is like just pointless, and it just leads to unhappiness. I'm so much more happy now that I'm doing what I like, and I'm doing my little films, and I'm doing a lot of my little streams, and I'm doing my little things, and teaching people and helping people, and I just feel so much more happy with that. You know, I think we all have to get used to the fact that things are never going to go back to what it was, and no one is ever going to earn the amounts of money that we used to on the visual effects industry or the creative industry. That's all gone, and all that money is being swooped up by corporates, really, by corporate companies that have a lot more power and more sway, and they can deploy so much faster than any of us, you know. So it's just, I always look at this as a couple of years ago, I remember, not that I was a huge fan, but I remember the biggest YouTuber in the world was PewDiePie, you know, like from Sweden. And he had like 150 million subscribers or something. And he was honest. I didn't really like his streams, but he was playing some games and doing some streams and just talking shit and talking about things. And then suddenly there was like this huge company, gigantic company with thousands of employees that just wanted to be the first YouTuber, wanted to be the biggest channel in the world. And they put so much money on it. It was this YouTube channel from India that only published music videos, and they just made such a big effort, and then finally they managed to pass PewDiePie and become the biggest YouTube channel in the world. And it was just so heartless and so unfunny to see one single person putting their heart and soul to a YouTube channel and becoming so big, the biggest YouTube channel in the world, by himself, by one person, and then some company just wants that. They just want that. And so they put all this money in, they put all this effort, and then passed them over, and now I think they're twice as big as PewDiePie. But it's so ridiculous, and it's so petty. It's so petty. I'm sorry. I didn't even to like. Yeah.
And I mean, these are the people we keep letting win.
I know. And I you know, but again, like I am a romantic. I want to believe that it will have reckonings, that we, in many times in the humanity in the past, there were moments of crisis and moments of problems and moments where, you know, the last time that this happened was much softer. At the time, we didn't thought it was softer, but on the 80s, we had the entire yuppie movement and the stockbrokers, and the whole thing was just like a big grab for money. And it kind of died off, and then we kind of like survived that time. I think this is on steroids. This is like the 80s yuppie moment, but on steroids, like 10,000 more greedy times, you know. But I want to believe that we can survive this, and that we can kind of all be honest. At least the ones that were honest, we can continue, and somehow on the other side we will still be here. At least I hope so. You know, I really, really hope that we can have some kind of reckoning, and something comes out of this, and maybe corporations will not have the confidence of people like they have right now as much as that in the future. And maybe there will be a reckoning about, because, you know, trends come and go. Maybe someday people will not like them, and then they're screwed because they won't have any money left to survive, and they will all kind of fall. I kind of want to hope that maybe that will happen, but I'm probably wrong. So
yeah,
so, you're not as positive as me, I guess. You're not being. Anyway, thank you so much for calling, Justin.
yeah, it's been interesting.
Thanks so much for calling. I'm gonna do a break. We should be doing a break in a while, so I'm gonna do a quick break. But thank you so much for calling, my friend.
Thank you for letting me on. Become ungovernable. Don't let these bastards get to us.
Not a problem, man. You're always welcome here. I thank you so much for calling in, and I'll see you soon. I'm gonna see you soon. Have a great day, my friend.
All right, have a good one, man.
Okay, so we should have done a break a long time ago. We usually do it every hour. It's already been an hour and 20. I got carried away. So let's do a quick break and then carry on with the calls. You guys all know how this works. 10 minutes. And we'll be back after. And during the break, if you want to stick around, it will be exactly 10 minutes, so you can time it if you want to. If you want to walk outside, please feel free to walk outside and get some fresh air and get some drinks and get a coffee or a juice or whatever and get some blood flowing in your legs. During the break, if you want to stick around, we'll be showing the trailer for my wife's book. If you are interested, on Green Recipes for All, it's really good to have good food and supporting small creators like my wife. And I'll also be showing the trailer for my course as well during the break. No pressure, you don't need to stick around, but it will just be playing in the background. So I'll be right back in about 10 minutes, and I'll see you all very soon.
Hello everyone! I'm super excited to give you a glimpse of my first cookbook, Green Recipes for All, featuring over 50 dishes inspired by amazing Mediterranean food. Inside you can find recipes made with a variety of fresh, healthy and versatile ingredients and popular plant-based products. These are great choices whether you already follow a plant-based diet or simply wish to cook a few weekly meat-free meals to reduce your overall meat consumption. In the book, you'll find a wide range of new and exclusive recipes, from soups and big salads to main courses and desserts, as well as some of the most popular recipes here on my channel, such as the perfectly cooked non-stick rice or the tabbouleh-style bulgur and mixed bean salad. Not forgetting a new version of the delicious tofu chocolate mousse. So, if you'd like to have a look at my book and try some of the recipes, just visit any Amazon marketplace and order a copy, which is available in hardcover, paperback or digital formats. Hope you enjoyed the book, have fun cooking, and see you next time.
Are you interested in learning compositing? My Nuke course is currently 50% off. Join today to have access to 150 pre-recorded classes, 50 hours of training, using real production assets covering industry standard techniques with over 200 gigs of Showreel material and access to a private Discord channel with over 2,300 students. This course is endorsed by Foundry and has access to a Foundry student license paid separately. Join today at hugosdesk.myshopify.com. Are you interested in learning compositing? My Nuke course is currently 50% off. Join today to have access to 150 pre-recorded classes, 50 hours of training, using real production assets covering industry standard techniques with over 200 gigs of Showreel material and access to a private Discord channel with over 2,300 students. This course is endorsed by Foundry and has access to a Foundry student license paid separately. Join today at hugosdesk.myshopify.com.
Hello everyone! I'm super excited to give you a glimpse of my first cookbook, Green Recipes for All, featuring over 50 dishes inspired by amazing Mediterranean food. Inside you can find recipes made with a variety of fresh, healthy and versatile ingredients and popular plant-based products. These are great choices whether you already follow a plant-based diet or simply wish to cook a few weekly meat-free meals to reduce your overall meat consumption. In the book, you'll find a wide range of new and exclusive recipes, from soups and big salads to main courses and desserts, as well as some of the most popular recipes here on my channel, such as the perfectly cooked non-stick rice or the tabbouleh-style bulgur and mixed bean salad. Not forgetting a new version of the delicious tofu chocolate mousse. So, if you'd like to have a look at my book and try some of the recipes, just visit any Amazon marketplace and order a copy, which is available in hardcover, paperback, or digital formats. Hope you enjoyed the book, have fun cooking, and see you next time.
Okay, I am back. Again, thank you. Just stopping that. I think I'm okay, and now I can hear it. I wasn't listening to it. Thank you so much for all you still being here. Much appreciated. It's been great to have this discussion. I've been really enjoying having this discussion. I know the last one is a bit dark, but we are trying our best. Hey Sejal, how you doing? This was the final break. Yes, we only had one break this time, but yeah, it's been really great to talk with you and having different perspectives, and I'm really enjoying talking about this. In the meantime, I'm gonna bring my beverage because it's really warm in the UK for some reason. Green Cola, as I always say, they're not my sponsor. I wish they were. They're not. But really good drink if you like cola. This is a good, more organic cola. It doesn't have any acids, and so it's much better for your teeth than the regular cola. Just wanted to shout out to them because I really am a big fan of their drinks, and I always have a little bit moment here. Let's just do some moment. There you go. Okay, let's continue maybe with another caller, and then we wrap up for today. No, I wish I was sponsored by Ferrari. Man, that would have been the dream. Not sponsored by Ferrari at all. Don't forget that we have a giveaway at the end of the day, as usual. I'll put the link here on the chat right now. So we have a giveaway at the end of the stream. Also, just don't forget as well that we will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow with another stream. Tomorrow, it will be the Showreel review. So we'll have the Showreel review from 3 o'clock tomorrow, 4th of April. So that's tomorrow. Don't forget to stick around here and join me for 3 Showreel reviews, which we are doing tomorrow. So that will be tomorrow. But yeah, let's just continue where we left off. I'm going to put in the call. We already had 3 callers calling today. It's been great to discuss things with them and really have really nice discussion, constructive conversation about this. So let's do maybe one final call or maybe 2 final calls and then wrap up for the day. We've been around already for an hour and a half. So, okay, already have one contestant here. So let's bring them in and see what they have to say. Hello there. Can you hear me? I like your avatar, a little kitten. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, they left. Okay, so I guess they didn't like... Okay, are you gonna come back or maybe... I think it got dropped out. I'll wait a little bit longer to see if maybe someone else wants to join or if you want to return to the call. Okay, we'll see if they can come back. In the meantime, I'll bring in Mikhail and see what he has to say. Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks again for calling, and thanks again always to being here supporting the show so much, Mikhail. Thank you so much. For those of you that don't know you, like, do you want to like just say where you're calling from and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm calling from Indonesia, and I'm a long-term freelancer, 3D artist, composer, graphics supervisor,
Cool,
all
man.
regular stuff.
Cool. And what would you like to talk about? I know you tried to come in earlier. Apologies for the delay. But what would you like to contribute to this conversation?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to step off from AI theme a bit.
Okay.
Just to like make some new conversation. And I thought about this. You as a composer and supervisor worked on different projects. Of course, you worked on live action and full CGI shots.
Yeah.
And I had a question, like, if not taking in account shooting for live action, logistics and stuff, when working like compositing stuff, I think like from my point of view, it's obvious that if it's live action with CGI and with graphics, it's harder maybe to compose than full CGI. But is there stuff that is harder in full CGI shots, and is there stuff that easier in live action?
I appreciate the question. It's a very, very broad question, so I'll try to be brief on my answer, but I would strongly say that a full CGI shot is much harder than a live action shot. The reason for that is because when you're dealing with a full CGI shot, you have nothing to go with. There's no plate, there's no footage to go from, which means that you really don't know how much the blur or the depth of field or the motion blur or the optical illusion or the chromatic aberration or any of those photographic elements are going to be on the shot. And so you have to recreate them from scratch. You can use a reference to do that, of course, but it's always going to be hard to do that, as opposed to having a plate. If you have something that was shot on live action, even if you replace 80% of the shot, it doesn't really matter because you have the blur level, the sharpness level, the grain level, the optical reference, and also the chromatic aberration, lens distortion. Everything is in the plate, and as long as you follow what's on the plate, then it will look photoreal because you're matching to it. It's funny that you asked this. Just last night, I watched the behind the scenes of a film that I love called Civil War, one of my favorite movies of the last decade, and I really watched it again because I'm about to do an episode for it for the Visual Effects Notes podcast Patreon episodes, and there is a moment during the behind the scenes that the DOP and the director, Garland, they speak about this. That there is one shot on the film which is full CG, completely full CG, and which is a shot that happened later. They tried. Garrett tried to film as much as he could on the film. Tried to have always a base for it, to have a plate for it, so that the frame store and the visual effects artist could do the visual effects in an easier way because you have something to match. That means if you have an explosion, at least you have a small explosion, then you can put bigger explosions. And so he speaks about this full CG shot, and the supervisor from Framestore is really saying that it was so much harder to do this single VFX shot, which was a cut-in of an helicopter picking up a jeep on the military ground on the end of the movie. It's like the end of the film, if you watch the film. And he keeps talking about exactly what I just mentioned. He keeps talking about how hard it is for you to know all the optical implications of a shot. So, don't want to make my answer longer, but I really truly believe that a full CG shot is much harder than something that has a plate.
Okay, but from my experience, it's maybe like the same thing, but opposite. That one thing that when you work with live shots, it's more like restrictions.
Okay. That depends the perspective. Like, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, if you're trying to do a creative shot, so that's different. That's a different conversation. But if you're trying to match reality, that's what it is. There's restrictions. You can't fake reality, and that's when you don't respect the restrictions of a plate. That's often when the VFX look bad. That's often when we have bad examples. When we look at some of the worst visual effects in history, and we look back and look at them, why did they fail? Why did they not work? Often it's because either they had a bad camera move, which was not realistic, or it was because they didn't respect depth of field, or because they didn't respect light trapping, or they didn't respect diffusing, or didn't respect lens distortion. Often there is always one of them, or multiple of these problems that make the shot not realistic, and that is why the shots don't look real. Now, if you're talking about a creative shot, that's a different conversation. Like, if you're talking about, like, Sin City, a creative film, or you talk about Speed Racer, which is a very artistic CG kind of driven film, or if you talk about any of the films that have stylized CG or stylized visual effects, that is a completely different conversation. And I thought we were talking about photorealism. That was it. Like
was talking about photorealistic shots that, like, for one or another reason, is either impossible or very hard or very expensive to execute with live footage.
I see. Okay. Fair enough. Cool, man. I guess in my opinion, you already know my opinion. You don't agree with me, I guess. That's what you were saying.
No. But I also, that reminded me that you was talking about, like, when in full CGI shots they don't respect camera work and stuff. I don't remember exactly where it was from, but I saw several full CGI shots that were made like very, very good, very like photorealistic rendering. All the effects was perfectly, but camera movement was so unrealistic that it like immediately was breaking like all the effect of shot.
Yeah, that's the thing.
why I
Yeah,
like
that's the thing. Like as soon as you don't, that is why it's so important. Whenever you see these movies and you see that they shot something, even when you look at Dune and you see some of these shots on Dune, which you look like at the worm riding, for example, when they are riding the worms. These shots, like 90% of the shot has been replaced. Like literally, there's only like 10% left from the footage from the plate. It is so important to have the plate because the plate will have the micro shakes of the camera. It will have the dolly movements. It will have the acting. It will have the lens and the blurry and the chromatic aberration. All those things will tell you how the shot in CG should look like. That's really the only thing I can say about that, Yeah.
Yeah, and respecting cameras and lenses and stuff, I like what they did in Toy Story in the last part when they emulated like all the real camera, all the real lenses, so it will look like as photorealistic in shooting perspective.
Yeah. Of course. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for calling, my friend, and that was a really interesting conversation and a really interesting debate. Do you have anything else you wanted to say? There's anything else? No? Okay.
I will.
Well, thank you so much, Mikhail. Thank you so much for being so kind and also to always come to my show and to always come in to talk. And I really can't thank you enough, my friend.
Of course, you're welcome.
Thank you. Cool. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Akam. It's been a long time since I've seen you, my friend. It's great to see you again. It's been years since I've chat with you. Thank you so much for the donation. Much appreciated for the $10 donation, my friend. Akam is a long time listener. He used to be on Twitch a long time ago. I'm still on Twitch, by the way, Akam, so I'm streaming simultaneously on both streams. But yeah, Akam says, "Hi Hugo, long time. I've learned Nuke from your course." Thank you so much for saying that. Got a job, but got laid off. I am so sorry to hear that, my friend. It's been out 2 years. Film's hopeless now, but I'll never forget your support. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for saying that, and thank you so much for the many support you've given me over the years. I am sorry to say that you are out of your job, and I'm sorry to say that it's been a struggle. I think it's been a struggle for most people, and it's been really difficult. The only thing I can say is don't give up, my friend, and don't give up and try to find other ways of finding success and finding work on maybe other methods. I'm happy to give you some ideas or some pointers. Just contact me and we'll talk a bit, man. I really don't give up. I don't want people to give up. It's been a long time since you've been here as well. Sajal remembers you as well. You used to be on the Twitch stream. Okay, cool. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up the call then because I don't think anyone else is joining since I put the link and no one else has joined the conversation. So I think we've already had a very long conversation about AI. The last one was a bit dark. But maybe I'll just put the link again on the chat if anyone wants to do a last minute call. I'm happy for them to come in. If not, we can wrap up this call and meet again tomorrow. We're going to be back tomorrow on YouTube and on Twitch with the Showreel reviews. So I can see the giveaway. I can do the giveaway now while I'm waiting to see if anyone else wants to join. I'm going to do the giveaway anyway and see who won the course. Let's do the giveaway and see what happens here. I'm drawing the giveaway now and see what happens here. Okay, Sajal wants to come in. Sajal, just give me a second. I'm going to give you a moment to bring you in. Okay, so the winner of my Nuke course is one of the callers from today. So I'm not entirely sure if I don't believe you are doing composting anymore, but maybe if you were, you can always reach out. But yeah, you are, Nikki, you are the winner of my giveaway. Again, I have no control about the giveaway. It's a raffle. So you've won my giveaway. I'm not sure. I think you mentioned that you retired from visual effects. So if you don't want the course, or if you don't need the course, just let me know. And I can, if you still want it, of course, I'm happy to give you either my course or my workshops. So, but yeah, that's funny that you won the course. Congratulations, my friend. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to bring in, I have two people actually trying to call in. I have Sajal, which called in. Sajal is a big call in the show. But now, Sajal, apologies, but I have Brian Oswald. Brian already tried to contact before. So he has first dibs because he already tried to call before, but I couldn't bring him in. And then he kind of went away. And so I'm going to bring in Brian first and then bring you in after. Okay, so this is by order, so I'll do that. How are you, Brian? Can you hear me?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear fine.
Hey, Hugo, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thanks a million for letting me in there.
Not a problem. Yeah, apologies that I know you tried to get in before as well. I saw you coming in before, so happy that you returned. Why don't you give us like a little, like what would you like to say, my friend?
Well, I'm in Ireland. I set up a studio about 3 years ago, and cool. There's a lot of buzz going on about AI. Yep. And how everybody knows the AI, how it's going to affect the industry. There's a lot of speculation, etc. In our studio, what we have implemented, and it works really well, is we have an 80-20% rule. And what we do is, when work comes in, if the client is looking to do stuff in AI, everybody's thinking AI is going to fix everything, it's going to fix the world. we put them kind of more in a realistic sort of a view on how AI works. Mm-hmm. So what we do with our clients, and it's worked very well for us, is we explain to them that to protect their IP, it's very, very important that we put in at least 20% work into the output, because the final pixel output, people are relying on it from AI, and for IP reasons, what a lot of people don't realize is if artists or studios use unpaid AI, that what happens there is if you're using AI and you're using it free, what you put into it is becoming the product. So the AI is trained on the stuff that you put into a free engine. Yeah. So we explain that to them, that putting your information into AI free is potentially dangerous, and you're risking the IP of your client. Yeah. And the clients, they're very interested to hear that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and what we find is very important is then it allows us, when we explain that you bring in your artists, and your artists, so, there's a lot of talk about AI being used for concept art, etc., and things like that. So if AI is used for concept art, we then get to a point where we say, that's no more. So from here on, we now have a concept artist that will then get in and make the concept unique to the client's needs, and it actually works very, very well. It does work. It works very well. We have a very strict policy about output, final pixel output. No final pixel output is done with AI. Zero. Yeah. We use, yourself, you use AI tools. So, for instance, what we would do is we'd use the AI for rendering. So it would only render your shots, or it'll help with denoising and stuff like that. That's very important. Like if you mentioned earlier about in Nuke that you use AI tools to help in certain jobs. That's fine. That works, but it stays completely away from Final Pixel.
Yeah. But that's a different thing. That's not really AI. That's machine learning, and those are tools that we've always had before in the past. So what I'm curious about. And first of all, Brian, do you want to mention the name of your company? Maybe people are curious. If you want to. What's the name of your company?
Glass Night Digital.
Okay. Oh, you're the Brian Glass Night Digital on the chat. I can see. Okay, Glass Night Digital. Okay, cool. Located where in Ireland, by the way?
We're in just outside of Dublin. A place called Clare.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
Just outside of Dublin.
So let me ask you this, Brian. Like, when you mean that you're using 80% and then 20% on regular visual effects, are you talking about machine learning, or you're talking about like generative AI? Like, what type of AI are you mentioning, or is it a mix of everything?
It's a mix of everything.
Okay.
Because we feel that because of the uncertainty about the IP, and as everybody is saying that, you know, it's ripping off existing IP. So we're looking at the future. So we're looking at the future of a client's IP and the risk behind that. And so we kind of covered with any AI tools that are mentioned. I don't know if any of your listeners have heard of Wonder Dynamics.
Yeah, so, we've done a stream about it actually before they were bought from Autodesk, when they first showed up on the market. This was years ago. I did like a live stream on Twitch about using it on a few shots of mine. And it failed miserably at the time. This was the first version, beta version, even before it was bought by Autodesk and before it became a household name. And at the time, it was really interesting to see how much it failed and how much it was not working and how much there was like so much so much hot hair on their websites, claiming so many things and really not really delivering. I know it has changed dramatically ever since. It's been a long time and a long road for them. And I know that now they're much more powerful. And in fact, they were involved in productions even lately, in film productions and Netflix. So I think it's a much more robust tool now, isn't it?
It is. It's a very good tool, and yeah, I do think that it has improved from when we used it. It was over 3 months we used it.
Yeah.
And where we used it, the clients were looking at it that they were going to get final output from it. But when we got in and we tested it, like you say, the final output just failed miserably for us.
Yeah.
Now, that I suppose can be really down to you know the standard of what you want out of it. But where we found that this 20% rule really came into play was we used the mocap side of it.
Yeah,
but it was essential at the end that we had skilled artists involved in the process, because the amount of cleanup work that was needed was huge.
Yeah.
And I do think that is the future of studios, and it is the future of artists, that be turning away from tools is, I don't think it's an option, but understanding that these tools, if you use them as tools, if they can do a lot of heavy lifting, and time is money, so if they can save you time to do a lot of heavy lifting, but you have the skills to then use put in that extra 20% or 30% of where it's required, that's essential.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you. And at the time, I'm glad to hear that it's working better. At the time, it didn't have any way of you putting mocap. I think it said coming in the future at the time. At the time, it failed so miserably that I would say that it was like you would have to do 90% to even get it to work, which became... At the time when I was testing it was like pointless, because you might as well just do it from scratch at that point. But now I've heard from other colleagues of mine that is a much better tool, and I agree with you. That is a different type of tool from generative AI. I feel like that is really a different tool. That's a tool that looks at the footage, tries to track it, tries to understand what's happening, and tries to make an animation on top of it. It's a much more machine learning type of tool than a generative AI kind of tool that's trying to make final pixels, because you're still getting the Blender scene, and you're still getting the CG, and you're still getting the skeleton, and you're still getting some kind of thing that you can edit afterwards. And so I think definitely I agree with you. Those are the types of products you want. But
Yeah.
the problem at the time, Brian, was that the website had so many bullshit claims on their website, and then at the time when I made the stream, I was really attacked by tech bros complaining that my shots were not good for you to use it, or you had to film it in a different way for it to work, or just making excuses that it had to be this or had to be that, and it should have been this or that for it to work. And I just feel that this is the problem we're living right now. We have all these tools. Some of them are more ethical than others, and some of them you can find the transparency, others you can't, and it's up to you to really do that research. But it's really important for everyone to really ignore all the noise around these tools, because you are the one that has to try them and see how it works, and just ignore all the noise or all the tech bros or all the people that are trying to just grow valuations around these tools, because some of them are not good and others are better. And I feel like, isn't that always the case on all the tools? We've always had good tools and bad tools. It's always been like this. We've always had shitty things that never really worked, and had boast claims and claim things that were not going to happen. And I kind of feel that it's just that it's so amplified by the social media noise. It's so amplified, but it becomes difficult. And so I'm happy that you're kind of like going through the noise and trying to make something out of it and trying to test things out. That's the way to go. That's a really good approach to do it.
Yeah, and we see I come from a programming background, so. Like when we were working on the project, I had to sit down and I had to actually build custom tools to solve the sheer amount of retargeting work and stuff like that had to be done. So like you do, on a positive note around AI, you do have a scenario where if AI can save you a certain amount of time and you can put that time into being creative in another way or a better way, that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is really a good thing. If you budgets are coming down, etc. So if you have a studio, so in our sense, there's a couple of us in the studio. It's only, as I say, a small studio, but it allows us to be able to look at a job or take on a job and look at the deadline and be able to achieve that work. It's the future, and it's unfortunate that studios are not going to need 1,000 employees anymore. They will be working with 10 people or 100 people rather than 100 people or 1,000 people.
Yeah.
That is the future, unfortunately.
But that ship has sailed. People have to start understanding that's reality. It's funny what we're discussing here. Just now on the chat on YouTube, not on the Twitch, on the YouTube chat, there's someone writing here. Someone called French Pilot, and he's saying, I just started to learn Nuke and feels a bit desperate about what AI is able to do in one click, especially when I do a 4-hour roto or something. Is there still a point to learn the basics? That's French's question here. And I think to answer French and to also emphasize what Brian has just said on the call here, it is absolutely important that you go ahead and learn the basics, French, because you are going to have to fix things, just like Brian just mentioned, that the output of the CG tracking didn't really work completely, so someone had to go in and actually manually fix it. And so it is very important for people to not to lose focus, that you still need to do and you still need to know things to use these tools, because otherwise you're not going to be able to edit them or fix anything. There's no, right now, maybe in the future will be different, but there is no one-click solution. That just does not exist. Doesn't exist at all. And so it's really important for you, French Pilot, not to give up on the most important, in my opinion, the most important thing, which is the basics. The core skills are the ones that we are all going to need to moving forward, to see what's good and what's bad, and to actually adjust it. Because if we lose that, then that's when we can't do it. That's when we can't do the job.
And Hugo, a copycat is a brilliant example of that.
Yeah.
We've used Copycat. I personally sat down and used Copycat, and I struggled with it for a solid 12 hours. And I just decided I'm going to just have to settle with what Copycat has given me, and I'm going to have to get in and manually roto the rest of it.
Yeah.
And it's just the nature of the beast. I would 100% agree with you on that. And I think French, you said his name was?
Yeah, French pilot, yeah.
Yeah, I as somebody who started a studio only in recent years, if French came to me looking to work with our studio, if he did not know the basics, I would have no interest in giving him an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's the AI tools are strictly AI tools, and you do need the skills 100%. I think we are talking a lot about AI. It came up last week, etc. And one thing I think is very important for people to look into, if not become very versed on it, is USD and ACES. I think that's a huge thing for the future. I think every studio will have to be in USD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, all your 3D, any 3D artists that are on there, like, it's again for collaborative work. You mentioned it the other day, and I truly agree with you. Yeah. The future is going to be in smaller studios collaborating to achieve big projects, and through USD and ACES, that's 100% the future. Yeah. So if people can get the core skills, upskill themselves on AI tools, how to use them, but also understand the limitations of them, but then understand fitting into a USD pipeline and but working within ACES in their own pipeline, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And I think some people on the chat are already responding to French, telling him not to give up and try to learn that. I just feel that I do meet a lot of students. As a lot of you know, I teach a lot of students, and I have I teach in a lot of schools and teach in a lot of online courses. And I meet a lot of students that are so negative about this and trying to give up and not really wanting to even touch this. But I really tell everyone to just focus their attention to core skills and try to learn, because in the middle of all of this, when you have someone using an AI tool, regardless of what it is, if someone knows how an image should look at the end versus someone that has never done anything, doesn't know anything, and doesn't even know if it should look good or not, or even what's the output, that's the difference. If you learn the basics of lighting and composition and the general basics of CG pipeline and how these tools work together, you are always going to be on an advantage. Even if you're both people using the AI tool, the person that doesn't know anything will not be able to continue the work that the AI started, and the person that knows something will be able to continue the AI works. And so it's really important for people to focus on that message and not really give up right away. And it's all true, like bigger companies will drop and there will probably potentially be less work and less positions, but I don't believe that there will be, I guess, let me rephrase that. I think there will be less staff on these big companies, but I actually don't believe we'll have less work. It's like, if anything, we'll have more work. There's so much work to be done. So many TV shows and so many films and so many content being created and so many streaming services. If anything, we'll see very quickly a multiplication of numbers and have even more productions being done. And we're gonna have to be here to do them, hopefully. I just feel that people shouldn't really believe everything they read and they listen on the web. The world doesn't really end overnight. It's not like that. There's things that will continue, and we'll just have to adapt to what's happening. I think that's and I think you agree with me, Brian, since you already part of it, you're already doing it. So
absolutely. And like you have fantastic courses there, and it's funny that I only had a conversation the other day about, that this is directed towards French, and he's starting out and he's thinking about learning. The truth of it is that in this industry is made up of nepotism. So it's all about knowing people and being friends with people and being nice to work with.
Yeah.
That's very, like, nobody works for me. Everybody works with me.
Yeah.
I work very hard and I expect other people to work hard. So we work together.
Yeah.
That's very important. So, you know, nepotism, touch base with people. That's number one. And number two, people don't care about you having a degree. People care about you having drive. Drive to learn stuff, drive to do stuff, drive to produce stuff, drive to turn up, do the work, and, you know, smile, be happy about, but have that drive to achieve. That's extremely important.
Yeah.
Doing courses, like doing your courses are phenomenal. And it's like, I would much prefer to hear somebody say, oh, I learned how to do 2D comping off Hugo, than say to me, oh, I went and I done a college course and I have a degree and I spent 4 years in college. Because if they have the drive to sit down in front of a computer and do one of your courses, that interests me. As somebody who goes to a course and they have to go to college and they come out of college and he said, but have you really got any real world experience? Yeah. Did you have drive to do something outside of college? Yeah. You know, because I think that's very, very important. It's, you know, I come from a background of programming. I do have a degree myself, but I don't value that type of a qualification over somebody that has drive. So I would say to French, have the drive to do it. Have the drive to sit down and learn it. If you can do something in 4 hours, tomorrow try do it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
That's fantastic advice, Brian. And I can tell you, as someone that has worked in really big companies with a lot of staff, the best people are not always the people that know how to do something perfect. The best people on the company are usually the ones just stay down and do the work. You know, and it's all about that, really. You're absolutely right on there. Like, so the amount of people that I've worked in my career that learned by themselves or learned on the job is really, really outstanding. That happens a lot, and people don't really realize how much that is common in this industry. And I think, yeah, you're really spot on. Like the driving yourself and really doing the hard work is really the only way you're gonna succeed. And it doesn't really matter if it's with AI help or not with AI help. It's working is always going to be the same thing. You need to work to do that. So it's not going to change anytime soon, you know. So
yeah, and the 3D side of it, and I'm not going to keep it because I know somebody else probably wants to get in the chat, but the thing that I'd finish on is when it comes to 3D work and sculpting work, you know, working in Maya or Blender or whatever your beast is, I would also say to people who are starting out, don't ever try fix a mesh, redo it.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a lot better to actually say that's not working out, scrap it and start again, because you'll find that it might take you 3 months to do a character the first time, and you'll think that was amazing, but in that same 3 months you could have built that character 10 times because you decided the first time that wasn't working out, I'll do it again. So you have 10 times the experience in the same 3 months.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely, completely agree, Brian. I completely agree. Well, thank you so much for contacting us, and best of luck with your company, and hope I can see many productions coming from it. And yeah, thank you so much for giving a call.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and sure, we will chat again, no doubt.
No problem. Thanks, Brian.
All right, thanks, Hugo. Bye now. Bye.
Okay, so I do have someone else coming in, so I'm gonna just bring them in right away. Let's do this. Okay, so. Brian, you can leave the call if you want to.
Yeah, I just joined.
So I do have Boris here now. What can you hear me?
Oh yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Boris, thank you so much for calling. And why don't you start by telling us where you're calling from and what do you do, my friend?
Thank you for having me on the show. It's quite an honor to be here.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's not a problem. Thank you
so
much.
Nervous, but you know.
No, don't be nervous. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, we're all friends here, and everyone is very nice, and we have a really nice community. So don't worry. So only if you want to, Boris, do you want to tell the audience where you're calling from and what do you do?
Yeah, of course. So, hi everybody. My name is Boris. I originally come from Croatia, but at the moment I live in Germany.
Ah, cool.
For the past 12 years, I've been doing visual effects, and I consider myself like a post-production generalist. I started from like a production assistant on sets, and then I worked my way up to assistants, to camera operators, and so forth, up to VFX supervisor. And now I have my own boutique company, let's call it that. I don't know what else would I call it. Pretty much a freelancer working for 2 agencies in Croatia, and that's pretty much it.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and congratulations with all all the work that you've done in the past. And what would you like to say, Boris? Is anything on your mind?
Yeah, I would just like to share something with all of you. Just like a lot of people that are here on this stream, you know, work is tough. It's quite tough to find work and all that. But I just want to share my experiences for the past 6 months. For example, last year, November, December, and this year, January, February, there was no work whatsoever as well. Like everybody else, nothing. You just suddenly stopped. Went from being a great year to pretty much nothing out of the blue. Yeah. And now for the past 2 weeks, again, I have so much work that I am sending stuff at 1 a.m. So,
I'm glad to hear that. That's really good. That's good news, and that's good for you, my friend. So what are you saying, that things are kind of like opening up and starting to like kick off? Is that what you think?
Yes. That's what I want to share with all of you. That even for those 4 months, I was fucking depressed as hell as well. You know, being without work, income, and all that. It's quite rough.
Yeah, of course.
It always can turn around. You never know what's going to happen in that regard. So don't give up, guys. There is still VFX work. I know it's all doom and gloom. There is still work out there. It's not, Avengers type of stuff, but, small projects, small things where you cannot charge much, but the volume of work pays off in the end.
Thank you so much for being so positive and saying that and giving your experience, Boris. I think people do need to listen that, absolutely. And I speak from experience. I've also spent like at least now 6 months, not really. I think it's been like 5 months since I've done my last project. It's been really tough as well. There's no work and everything kind of dries off and every bid doesn't go anywhere. But I do see, for example, on my side, I live in the UK, I do see a lot of light in the tunnel, actually. Just from the 1st of April, just a few days ago, we have finally tax benefits for productions in film and creative industry and visual effects inside the UK. And so right now there's a tax rebate of 40% to 45% here happening in the UK. And I think that's going to drive a lot of work. And it's going to be a 9-year-long rebate. And so I already see that behind the scenes. I already see people contacting me about it and asking me how's this work, and because there's like a lot of rules, the production has to be done 50% here and it has this and that. Yeah. I do think that work is going to come back, and I think that we are going to actually be quite busy soon. And so I would say exactly what Boris just said. I think actually the industry will have a lot of work. And regardless, just like Brian before was talking about, regardless if you use AI tools or if you use regular visual effects tools or if you use a hybrid approach or if you use both things, I do think that I don't believe people should give up that quickly on learning these things and actually working in the industry. I know it's blue, I know it's gloom, and I know it's dark, but there is stuff to do. There are work. There is things that will come back. I believe so, and I'm glad that you called in, Boris, and gave us the lowdown that you are actually on the upside. And congratulations for that. I'm sure you're very happy for that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. On one hand, I'm overstressed and overworked, but at the same time, I'm going to be happy when I see the money on my bank account. Then it's going to be right.
Of course. But be careful though. Don't overwork and don't stress yourself too much, my friend. Try to have a balance as much as you can, even though I know it was a desert before and you're probably trying to do everything, but take care of yourself as well in the meantime,
thankfully, my girlfriend is doing that for me. She's constantly kicking my ass to go out, take a break, do this, do that. It's like, fine,
That's good.
one more, one more shot. And she goes, no, we go. Okay.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm very happy and, glad that I have her on my side helping me with that because, like everybody else, I get in a zone and suddenly 8-10 hours just flies on nothing.
Yeah.
And suddenly, you're hungry, thirsty, you have a headache, and you want to go to bed.
That's great to hear, Boris. Cool. Thank you so much for calling and bringing some positivity and some ray of sunshine into this conversation.
Thank you for having me on the call. That's pretty much it. I just want to share a little bit of good news out of all of that gloom and doom.
Thank you so much, Boris. Thank you so much. Cool.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Boris, for setting the day. This was a long radio show. Wow, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people calling today. So I think we're going to wrap up the show now. I'll do one final giveaway. I'll do a surprise giveaway at the end here. Since we did one about an hour ago, but I'll do another one. I'll put the link here if you guys want to join. But yeah, I would like to first off thank everyone that called. I would like to thank Juan and Nikki and Justin and Mikhail and Brian and Boris for calling into the show today. It was great to have this conversation. It was great to talk about AI like this, to talk about also CG and also to talk about the positives and the negatives, and I'm really, really enjoying this conversation. It's fantastic always to do this radio show. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for people to sign up to the giveaway, I just wanted to let you know that the next stream will be tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to be doing the radio show, the Nuke Showreel reviews. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. That will be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We have 3 showreels to be reviewed tomorrow, so come back and join the fun with that. I'm going to just put it on the screen here so that we see it. So that's tomorrow, 4th of April from 3 o'clock. We have 3 showreel reviews that we're going to do tomorrow. Also, the next call-in show, so the next call-in show will be, I myself have to open my calendar and check it myself because I don't remember out of the top of my head. Let's see here. The next call-in show, if you're interested on joining, we will be doing the next call-in on the 17th of April. So not next week, the week after, the 17th of April, we'll have the next call-in radio show. So we'll still have the showreel reviews on the 4th, and then another showreel review on the 14th, and then finally have another call-in show on the 17th of April. And then we'll have another call-in radio show on the 24th as well. So I've mentioned this before. I'm trying my best to do this every single week. That's my idea, to do the radio show every week, just like a regular radio show. And in the meantime, we'll have also the showreel reviews once in a while, and we'll have the new compositing as well once in a while. And I quite a few people asked me as well what was happening with the game streams, because I was streaming so much gaming before. I just wanted to let you all know that I've stopped streaming gaming on my main channel because there was a lot of people unsubscribing because of that, and I understood that maybe people didn't want to see gaming streams. So what I did was I've made my second channel part of that. So if you guys want to see some of my gaming, I will start streaming games on that channel. It's a second channel. It used to be the channel where I used to have my Twitch replays. I've renamed it to Hugo's Desk Gaming, and every time I play some games, currently I'm playing Returnal, which is the most difficult game I've ever played in my life. I'm almost done. I'm at the final boss, but I will start playing games on that YouTube channel. And that way, people have separate YouTube channels. There's the YouTube channel where I have my radio show and my Nuke compositing and my podcast. And then I have another YouTube channel where I will be doing gaming called Hugo's Desk Gaming. Now, it will also be streaming on Twitch. Twitch will still be the same channel because Twitch is game anyway. So it will be both on YouTube and on Twitch. I just didn't make a second Twitch channel. I didn't feel like I needed to do that because the Twitch is really a platform for games anyway. So no one has unsubscribed on Twitch. So it's more YouTube. And I understand people's feedback was that they didn't want to constantly every day have a game stream on their pop-ups on the YouTube channel. And so I think it will be much easier if anyone is interested on seeing my gaming extravaganzas, they can go to that channel and then they can stay there. And I realized that channel had other people because I used to put my streams there of Twitch, and if you guys want to unsubscribe, that's fine as well. But from now on, that will be the channel that will only have game streams. Now, that channel is not monetized, not yet, because it's a small channel. We'll see what happens. Maybe it will get monetized one day. But for now, I just wanted to share with everyone, you know, my really frustration run with Returnal. Returnal is the most difficult game I've ever played in my life, much worse than Dark Souls, much worse than Elden Ring, and it's almost driving me mad. I'm getting so annoyed at it, and so I'm going to start my streams again tomorrow. So tomorrow after the Showreel reviews, I might hop up into it and play some games on Returnal as well. So that's the channel. And in the meantime, I'm gonna run the next giveaway, and then we wrap up this stream. So let's do this. So the second second winner, sorry, fat fingers. Second winner of the Nuke course is, I'll put the name, just have to be careful not to leave their email. Okay, let's see here. That's the name. Okay, so the next winner is Arthur here. So Arthur Ribbolette, I guess that's how I pronounce that. That will be the second winner. Not sure if Arthur is here. Hope they are. So Arthur was the winner of the course of the second giveaway. Are you here, Arthur? So I can say thank you to you. Hopefully you are, and then I can say thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure if Arthur is here. Is Arthur here? No? Maybe they're not. I don't know. If they're not here, I can always run the... Are they here? Hello, Arthur. Are you here? Nice. Are you? No, you're not Arthur. That's not the same name. Maybe they're not here. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes that happens. That's not a problem. Maybe they're not here. I can run the dice again and just see if we can maybe get another one. Just have to update the thing to give another one. Okay. Well, I'll just like run the dice again. I'm happy to give Arthur the course later on. I think he was here before. I think so. I'm not sure, but they can always contact me and see if they were. I'll run the dice again and see if I can find another winner. So this is gonna be tricky because I don't have a second name for this new winner. Yes, I saw Arthur before, so okay, that's fine. The third winner is... Now, this is going to be a bit more tricky because there's no second name for this winner. So it's just called Paul. So Paul is the winner, but I don't know who Paul is. I have their email here, but maybe perhaps if Paul is here, they can tell me what their second name is. And then I can see, no, not all Pauls won. No, that's not how it works. I do have an email here. And on the email, I can see other names. And so if a Paul is here, maybe, what I'll do this. I'll put the other names, but not show the email. I'll try to my best to try to put it in a way that you are Paul talking. Okay, so I'll just not put the email and just try to see if I can find this out. Okay, so that is the name that I have, other names that I have here on my side. So is there any Paul Swishiju in here on the chat? Hopefully they are, and then I can kind of like see if I can find them here. That's the names I have here. I don't think this is a second. I don't believe this is a second name. It probably isn't. But you know, I'm not gonna wait much longer, so I'll just like, hopefully they show up. If not, we already did 2 of them anyway, so this is already way too much. It wasn't supposed to be a third one, so I'll just see if they can contact me or something. We have another stream tomorrow, more giveaways are going to be here tomorrow, so you can always join there. How do I know your full name? Oh, is it you then? Well, because I have more data here from other things. Sections of an email. That's how I know more names. Oh, is that... Apologies. Is that your name? Is that it? Okay. So, okay. Well, anyway, congratulations. You've won the course. That's the information I have on my side here. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining. I will be back tomorrow. So tomorrow we have the Showreel reviews from 3 o'clock. So I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all later. Have a great day. It was wonderful. I would really like to thank everyone that called the radio show. We'll be back in a week's time for the next radio show.